Okay, now let's get started. Hello and welcome to Vibrant Living with Nousha. I'm Nousha, delighted to be here with you today to answer a question from one of our listeners. And so our listener is Rana from France, and her question is, I hear a lot, stay away from difficult people or low vibe people. It's super weird for me. How can I stay away from them? They're part of the whole. Aren't we here to love others as we love ourselves? I have 2 children. One is nice, the other difficult. Should I just stay with one of them or just love one of them? I mean, love the nice one and stay away from the difficult one? Awesome question, Rana. Thank you so much. I know that this will serve many. And to answer Rana's question, before I do that, I wanted to take a step back and create a bit of context with regards to IQ and EQ. So most of us are familiar with IQ, which is a score that measures our intelligence, our human intelligence. And EQ is a little newer, and it's actually being used often now with a lot of the workplaces that are looking to hire people. They look at high EQ scores. And in fact, they look for 80% EQ skills and scores and 20% in the IQ side. And so what is EQ? So EQ is a score designed to measure a person's adequacy in such areas as self-awareness, empathy, and dealing sensitively with other people. Now, today more than ever, this is really important because we are in a time where there is so much change and more uncertainty than ever. 50 years ago, there would probably be one big change in a year. Today, there's changes almost every week, almost every day even, big changes. And so what that requires is for us to be able to have that emotional strength to be able to navigate all of these energies and changes. Now, to go deeper, emotional intelligence is the ability to identify, use, understand, and manage your own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. Now, I'm sure many of you agree that these are very important skills, especially today, given the landscape of the world and what's happening. And so if we were to take a look at emotional intelligence and take it a step further, we would get into the concept of energy and how our emotions are energy. And these emotions can be high vibe or they can be low vibe. And that's what's meant by high vibe, low vibe. So to go even deeper with that, one of the books that I love that I've shared a lot about is Ask and It Is Given. And in this book, there's a chapter devoted to that. Actually, the whole book talks about how we can raise our vibration to be more high vibe. But in this particular page, there is something that's shared which is called the Emotional Guidance Scale. So this is a scale that at the very top of the scale, we have the energy and the vibrations of joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, and appreciation. And at the very low end, low vibe of the scale is fear, grief, depression, despair, and powerlessness. And so what we want to be aware of is where we are generally vibing, for lack of a better term. And how this was shared with me in the past as I started to grow my lifestyle business is, imagine that you live in a world that's this giant soup. And in this pot, there is all kinds of things. There's high vibe things and there's low vibe things. And depending on what you're vibing, you are going to attract, because we are all magnets. So like will attract like. So as you're high vibe, you will attract more high vibe energies to you. Now, it's important to state that we're not like these perfect beings that are always high vibe. We all go through the low vibe and the high vibe. In one day, we can go through the gamut of from fear all the way to joy, back into, I don't know, frustration, doubt, up to optimism and positive expectation. And, we're constantly oscillating in these vibrations. But in the end of the day, or if we take a look at a year or so in the life of someone, there is a general vibe that people are at. And so this is what we're talking about about the soup, is that you will be attracting like vibes. Now, in Rana's case, she has one child that is nice and, for lack of a better term, high vibe, and the other one who's difficult and low vibe. So what do you do in that case? It just is, or maybe you work with such an individual. There's a variety of different examples where we are faced with people who may not be vibrating at the same frequency as we are. So what do we do in that case? Well, to answer Rana's question, I'd love to go and talk about a book called Power versus Force. Awesome, awesome book. I highly recommend it for everyone. And in this book, the author, David Hawkins, shares, again, similar to what Esther and Jerry Hicks share in Ask and It Is Given, shares about the gamut of vibration, but he takes it further and talks about the vibration of a community, of a country, and so on and so forth. So awesome book, highly recommended. You can find it for your convenience on noushabebahanian.com in the resources section. And so at the very low end, actually chapter 4, he specifically goes into levels of human consciousness. And he talks about the energy level. It starts at 20, which is shame, and it goes all the way up to 1,000, which is enlightenment. And, he talks about how various viable spiritual texts vibrate at around 600 plus. So you can get a sense of the vibration all the way up to 1,000. And so he shares that in general, our human consciousness, the collective level of consciousness of mankind, has remained at 190 for many centuries. And curiously, it has only jumped to its current level of 207 within the last decade. Now, why is that important? Well, anything under 200 is destructive to people and to society. And any vibration over 200 is not. So 200 is that set point. So for centuries, we've been vibrating at 190 as a collective consciousness, and the current level is 207 within the last decade. And this book was published in 1995. And so what this tells me is there is a lot of room for each of us as individuals to be bright, to shine our light, and to be an inspiration for others. And going back to Rana's question, how do you deal with that when you have a child that is one vibration and the other one in another vibration? And the easiest way for me to share this is, imagine you're in a very dark room. So we can say that the dark room is like low vibe. And if we're in a bright room, it would be high vibe. So we're in this dark room and we light a match, which is light. So we know that when we light that match, it creates light automatically. And this is how we want to view ourselves, and how Rana can view herself in relation to her child that can be difficult. And to see that her child is actually a gift for her to strengthen her vibe and to elevate her vibe. And truth be told, If we haven't strengthened our high vibe, it will be difficult for us to be with low vibe. And so the key is for us to get super strong, super stable in our high vibe energies. And from there, be able to be with all the other low vibes. So the key for us is to remember the analogy of that dark room symbolizing low vibe, and that one match can bring light into that room, and to know that you are that light, that who you're being has a huge impact on your surroundings, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of if you find yourself in a low vibe situation, you have an opportunity to actually shift that. And the people or the circumstances around you that create low vibe are actually a gift for you to strengthen your vibe. Because the truth is that it takes discipline to be high vibe. It takes focus. It takes letting go of a lot. It takes a lot of growth to be vibrating at high vibe. And the benefit is that you get to experience more power. As David Hawkins says, as you increase your awareness and consciousness, you have more power. And with that, there is more love, more peace, more happiness. And so that is the key. And that is also why I created Vibrant Living with Nousha podcast and YouTube channel, is to encourage and inspire people to be that match in any circumstance that they find themselves in, and to be that light, because we can make a difference in the whole consciousness of the planet to elevate it. And you know, my wish is for those of you that may not be aware of how to approach all this, that this podcast and YouTube channel have made a difference in your life, in supporting you to be able to navigate the current world that we live in and the circumstances that we can find ourselves in. And as Gandhi so beautifully shares, be the change you wish to see. And it is up to us, my friends, to elevate the consciousness of our planet together. And I highly recommend this book because it will provide a lot of insight about the energies and the vibrations that we find ourselves in, and how we can further elevate that, not only in our families and our communities, but in the entire world. So thank you for being here with me today to have this conversation. Would love to hear more. And please feel free to share your experiences and some of the practices you have that increase your vibration, or how it is that you deal with low vibe in your life. And Rana, thanks again for your question. So appreciate it. Until next time, friends, be vibrant, be bright. It's your birthright. Now, let's go out there and shine our light. Thank you for investing this time with me on the Vibrant Living with Nousha podcast. I'm so glad that you joined our conversation. If you would take 2 minutes to positively impact someone's life by sharing this episode, that would be wonderful. Please leave us a review by visiting iTunes. Let us know what you enjoy and what you'd like to see more of. It will support us on our journey to causing a worldwide epidemic of vibrant living. Until next time, be vibrant, be bright. It's your birthright. Now, let's go out there and shine our light.